I would now request our guest of honor, Shri Arun Sharma, Executive Chairman, Indian Register of Shipping, to address our audience with few words. Thank you.
Commodore Khatri, Chairman, Hindustan Shipyard Limited. Mr. Shantanu Bhatkamkar, Chairman of Technical Advisory Board, ShipBuild India. Dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a pleasure to be here today morning, inaugurating a seminar after a long time when the pandemic just seems to be hopefully petering out. And I hope it continues and we can see some more physical events as we go into the future. I'm really thankful to the organizers, Ocean Trade Media, for the invitation, and I extend my best wishes for a very successful event to all the organizers. Thank you once again. The theme is apt: propelling maritime industry, and of course the ShipBuilding India Expo Summit 2022. If we look at the history of shipbuilding and the connected ship repair industry, which forms a fairly large part of the shipbuilding and shipyards, which probably also sustains it during the lean period of shipbuilding, it will be nice to capture certain things from the past. Of course, I will not take the liberty of...
If you can adjust this.
Okay. To capture... It's too loud, I think. To capture the history of shipbuilding, I promise not to go back to the ancient times of civilization of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, or the Lothal dry docks. That would probably take us the entire 3 days. But I would definitely like to go back in time, which I call the contemporary period, which most of us have seen with respect to shipping, shipbuilding and ship repair. The other day I was at Hindustan Shipyard, thanks to Commodore Khatri, and I just saw that Scindia Shipyard built and delivered its first ship, the Jal Usha, in 1948. And I believe both the quality and the delivery times were very acceptable for the period in which she was built. Of course, 48 was a bit too early for even somebody like me. But I recall the 70s and the 80s when in the Shipping Corporation of India, the Hindustan Shipyard delivered ships like the Vishwa Bhakti, Vishwa Prem, Vishwa Seva, state of West Bengal, state of Madhya Pradesh, and I can go on and on and on. There would be no end to it. And believe me, they were beautiful ships, not only with extremely efficient body lines, extremely fuel efficient for those days, very easy to operate, very easy to maintain, and they were really sought after by the likes of us who needed to sail on them. So what I'm trying to capture here is that in the 70s and the 80s, India had a great shipbuilding tradition. And those ships competed with any ship built worldwide, be it in West Germany, Korea had still not started, China had still not started, and we were miles ahead in shipbuilding in the 70s and the 80s. When we talk of ship repair, which is a very connected industry with shipbuilding, I recall again late 70s and the 80s, you had ship repair in India was not only I would say, a business to survive. I think it was a very thriving business. And I can name shipyards which did some very good ship repairs, likes of Mazagaon Docks in Bombay, the Scindia workshop in Bombay, Patel Engineering, Orient Engineering, Evans Electric, and again I could go on and on. In Calcutta you had the Garden Reach workshops, you had the river steam navigation, you had many more including the Kidarpur docks, the King George's docks, and again the list is endless. For those times one could easily do voyage repairs, dry docking repairs in India, and one need not have to look at Dubai or Colombo or Singapore for that matter. We finished everything here in a very, very satisfactory time frame as well as extremely cost competitive. Now between the 80s and the 2000, what really went wrong? I think for the likes of me, I am not able to understand that where did we go wrong. I will give you an example. Somewhere late 90s, early 2000, I said, why can't we do a voyage repair on a ship in India? And I told my people, let's try with one. And we selected a mid-sized tanker for voyage repairs. The ship was in Bombay. You had good overseeing team. You had good facilities for repairs. And so we said, go ahead. And we allotted about 7 days to finish those repairs. The first job was, I think Captain Basi will understand, you had to deslop to get the tanker gas free. And when we deslopped, next morning I was told the ship has been seized by the customs department because you are transferring oily water with an oil content from a foreign going vessel to a coastal barge, and hence we will have to calculate the amount of duty payable on the amount of oil being transferred. It took us 7 days to convince the customs that this is not something saleable, but we were unsuccessful. After 7 days of convincing the customs, we sailed the vessel out to Dubai and did our voyage repairs there. So I think the government policies, I do not know, they have changed, so I probably will not go at it. But those were the problems which were faced by the ship owners, and that is how the preference became even to do voyage repairs in Dubai, in Colombo, and in Singapore. And suddenly you found the 2 dry docks in Bombay have seen the end of the day. Calcutta seems to be struggling because of the low draft. And I think that is something we need to look into, that an industry, both as shipbuilding and ship repair, which was flourishing almost 40 years ago, why it is finding it a struggle to exist today. I wish some of the government authorities were here to make a note of it, otherwise we'll have to probably put it as a note from the minutes of this particular seminar and take it to them. Now, you see, we just need to realize that a ship owner is looking for a comfort level from all sides, be it from the government, be it from the repair facilities, be it from the contractors to do a job here and build ships here. Now, one thing needs to be noted, that shipbuilding in India, if you look at the, the shipbuilding capacity. Today, if you look at the macro picture, in India, the Indian ships carry only 10% of the Indian cargo. So there is a huge vacant space available to bring in more ships to carry that 90%. At the same time, there is a huge space available to build ships in India. So I think one needs to realize and see that how that opportunity can be really captured, In fact, if you see, 90% of shipbuilding is done between Korea, Japan and China, and India's share of shipbuilding is a minuscule less than 0.5%. So let us rededicate ourselves to capture the space which is easily available and try and take our shipbuilding and ship repair facilities even from today onwards and do something which should be actually taking India to the Prime Minister's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. In the words of someone, shipbuilding is our maritime sector's missed opportunity. The 2022 annual report released by the Government of India has a surprising admission. While the importance of roads and railways in the economy is undeniable, there is a great need to encourage the maritime sector to enable it to achieve its full potential. Having said this, the uncharacteristic mea culpa is justified by the fact that this voluminous report, which covers 125 pages, talks about shipbuilding industry in India only in 3 pages. So you can just imagine the kind of importance even a government report gives to shipbuilding even today. And this report is as old as 2020. So we are not talking of too far. I think it needs to be emphasized that a strong shipbuilding industry, a large merchant navy, efficient ports, an ocean-going fishing fleet, and the ability to exploit seabed resources are critical to the nation's sea power. Okay. A thriving shipbuilding industry, apart from boosting the nation's ocean-based blue economy, would have skilled the youth and created job opportunities for thousands through a complex of ancillaries. Now let us not forget the importance of ancillaries. Shipyard is basically a nucleus, and around the shipyard you have a complex system of ancillaries, be it crankshaft grinders, boiler tube repairs, what have you, like piston reconditioners. And one of the finest examples of the growth of ancillaries is Dubai. You have a shipyard, whether it is Dubai Dry Docks or any other one, Arab heavy industries, you will find that for ancillary repairs, one just needs to drive about 5 kilometers to the Al Jadaf port and see the kind of ancillaries which are available there, like your, whether it is Goltons or it is the boiler makers or it is the piston reconditioners, everything under one roof. And that is exactly what the ship owner looks for. I have done repairs in Dubai, and it can be really a very, very pleasant experience because you don't have to run around. Now, I'll give you one more example, which I think some of you may not be familiar with. In one stage, I had a ship which had suffered a grounding damage in New Orleans, in the Mississippi River. And that was to be repaired, and it had a lot of other engine problems. So I thought that was going to be a huge job to handle a ship in USA with multiple kind of repairs. And when I went there, the two shipyards, the Avondale and the Todd, they said that this job about the hull can be finished in just about not more than 20 days. I said, what about the other things which we got? We got problems with the power generation, main engine, everything. They said, no issues. We finished the main job in just about 15 days, And then last minute there was a problem with the power generation plant. And the original maker said that this could take you a long time because this is not a simple problem. Suddenly in the lunchtime, the ship manager suggests to me, why don't we hire a generator till the time you sort out the repair problem, and the ship could even sail as early as tomorrow. So we went to one of the rental companies, and they had generators from 100 kilowatts to 2000 kilowatts, coupled with the switchboards. And they said, you choose any, just sign a few papers, pay the rental for 3 months, and we will get the generator taken on board, fitted on board, approved by class, and you can sail out. So you see, they have thought of contingencies which as an owner we never thought of. And they solved the problem for us before we actually realized the problem could be solved. I think that is where India needs to get at today, in today's times, and that will bring the owners and those seeking refuge to India for a better repair. Shipbuilding, I think we need to really look at how do we boost shipbuilding. And I think that is probably a lot more challenging issue. Because if you see today's shipyards, the government shipyards, I think, still continue to do well because of the government support. It is the private shipyards, I think, that need to be helped. In fact, unfortunately, 3 of our big private shipyards went down recently mainly because of mismanagement. I think while the private sector shipyards have to be backed up, government support with long-term vision should be forthcoming in terms of well thought out schemes of subsidies, tax benefits, shipbuilding fund that could make the industry competitive and probably more foreign orders. I need to build a strong and a cohesive maritime constituency between owners, builders, classification societies to take the proposal to the government in a coordinated manner and speak in one voice. I think whenever we take problems to the government, we seem to be fragmented. Owners, shipyards, classification societies, government will not listen to you unless you go in one voice on a coordinated platform. I think that is the call of the day. I would request that these points, if found to be of any value, should be debated, discussed in the next 1, 2, 3 days. And if some kind of a draft proposal could be submitted, we promise to take it to the government for any necessary action therein. Thank you very much once again. Thank you.